30 hours. Down in the agenda, the recognize the public, which you heard Maya here for.
Well, town ordinance, I think.
Yes.
Road.
And Tom Maya is here for road survey. And Dan Zabruski for town road commissioner. Is there any approval of minutes?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
And
Little lonely aye.
Tom, you're up. Yes, on the agenda.
Oh. Did you dress up knowing you're going to be on TV?
This is not my normal attire. A long day.
We keep them busy.
Yeah.
So in rereading the minutes from last meeting,
Mhm.
where we were talking about the work, after reading that over and having some time to think about it, and I'm not sure exactly I'm just going to jump in here. I think I tend to agree with Dick that we should just finish up the Lowry Road and the Broadbrook Road and not do the whole 4.1 miles at this point. Just get those parts defined using the monuments and not, I just thought about the various possible issues that could arise by just doing a straight, arbitrary straight line.
Sure.
In terms of suddenly somebody who had property in Guilford now has a little tiny sliver in Vernon, or vice versa. And I think just using, as you had talked about in the minutes from last meeting, the monuments that you had established. I mean, I don't know if that's exactly what we were to talk about, but that's my gut feeling that we should just get that piece done,
Okay.
which is what you had suggested, right?
Well, I guess it's not clear that what I was proposing was, I've done a lot of work tying into pretty much all the monumentation that I can find up and down that stretch. And what I thought, and what my proposal, maybe it wasn't clear enough, but the extra was to prepare a plan that would show everything I've located up to this point that would enable the towns to begin an agreement process for that whole 4.1 mile stretch.
So when you say the whole 4.1 mile stretch, are you talking about beyond just the auspices of Broadbrook Road and Lowry Road?
Correct. My original proposal that I made, it was actually at the end of 2009.
Right.
And then it was delayed until the end of 2010 for getting into the next fiscal year.
Right.
Was to just do where it crosses the two roads, Lowry Road. And in determining that, based on what I found to date, it puts almost all of Lowry Road in Guilford. So then I came back, I think it was a year ago, to talk about doing the right-of-way for Lowry Road. And you're now dealing with a several thousand-foot stretch of town line, because it's not going to actually cross Lowry Road.
What's not going to actually cross?
The town line doesn't actually cross Lowry Road.
Lowry Road will now be entirely in Guilford.
Everything. I know this is it gets very technical very quickly, but it's the cart keeps getting put in front of the horse, and then the horse. It's as I determined where the town line is based on the existing monuments locally in that 4.1 mile stretch between the second crossing of the interstate up to the corner with Brattleboro. And a big chunk of this has already been done, and you've already entered into the agreement with Vernon. So I just thought that since I haven't done the drafting for those two road sections, that I could draft a plan that would show that entire stretch. It would incorporate the portion that Eric had done and that that both towns have already agreed on. And I think it would open up discussion. I don't know that it would be a proposed line for you to agree on. If I go ahead and I do the drafting and monumentation for those two road crossings, I'm going to show an approximate town line. It's based on just the local evidence. You're able to enter an agreement with the town, with Vernon, but it seems kind of, you're gonna have,
Pennywise, pound foolish.
well, it's a question, I'm more than happy to do this next step, except that to go beyond that and actually come to an agreement for that whole 4-mile stretch, I'm drafting a whole nother plan.
We've got you for 2 jobs. One is define Lowry Road. You get that done?
It's dependent on you agreeing on the town line.
So we're waiting on Vernon's.
Well, I discussed this with a couple of you guys, and it made sense to, since Lowry Road is, that line is that whole stretch, that maybe we ought to go the next step and do the line completely. And I've also been in conversation with a number of other surveyors and David Walker with Vernon, that doing this whole thing, it will end up costing more if I do what I originally proposed in 2009, and then anything after that, essentially you're starting at scratch. Although I've done the field work, I'm going to be drafting a different plan.
And so that's what you had talked about $1,200, and then your communication after that sounded like that was it was actually
Well, I think I originally said 12,000 to 1,800.
1,200 to 1,500.
Yeah, or thereabouts, and I think Dick jumped on the 1,200. But but the town line portion of it, as I understand, is to be split with.
Well, this is the thing. Defining Lowry Road is on us. The town line is going to be split between us and Vernon.
I originally thought I would end up doing, and I talked to David Walker way back in 2009, that our original thought was the line crossed Lowry Road, and there was so many odd feet in Guilford. In Guilford, and then a portion in Vernon. And David Walker said, "Sure, I'll do whatever Vernon's part is." And now it turns out it's all in Guilford.
And this is the part that we've gotten no state.
Right, we're maintaining that other 700 feet with no.
And Vernon's not getting paid for it either.
So, I guess if I go ahead and I finish what we originally proposed in 2009, then the extra of 1,500 or whatever it turns out to be is off the table, and that to restart this process, essentially it's a drafting exercise.
Here's what, and I'm not that familiar with this process, but I don't understand why what you had proposed doing in 2009 in that definition wouldn't be enough for Vernon and Guilford to establish the town line. But it sounds like, tell me again about the process. You use that information and then you develop a plan?
Right, I mean, the final result will be a plan.
What kind of plan?
Well, very similar to what Eric Morris did, although it's going to be a much longer strip.
Yeah.
I guess it's use of the word plan that
This is what Eric did.
It's a survey.
Okay.
Right.
That's what Eric did, and that's been agreed on
So
between
can I
Vernon and.
try and summarize
This
to
is
see if I can clarify?
Right.
To do this.
Right.
Are you saying that if you did the Lowry Road piece as per the original proposal, that to go back and take it in a grander scale, that might shift the work that you had already done?
That's correct.
So to do the work now,
Well,
in its entirety places the line where it definitely should go, so it's not going to have jags in it and
Well,
Well, I think it needs, I'm a little concerned about, we had that conversation that night, if getting rid of all those jags makes the line straight, but I think it might open up a can of worms property-wise.
that's up to you guys to agree on. You guys, as I understand the statute, you can put the line, it's up to you to, I don't think you could drastically change things, but the statute, based on my reading, is the original evidence is uncertain. Here's a line that's proposed. You both agree on it.
And that's the GPS one that you would.
That's based on a GPS control survey. That's correct. And but the only extra, if you go ahead, if I file a plan and we do the monuments on the 2 road crossings, that's going to cover the original 2 proposals from 2009, which were 3,200 which was going to be split, and which you've already paid me 800. The town of Guilford's given me an $800 retainer. I haven't received anything from Vernon at this point.
So, but what you're saying is if we do that, we say, let's just finish that up, you're saying we're no better off,
You're gonna
in
end
a
up,
nutshell.
you're gonna end up spending more money. Because then I'm drafting, and
No,
I'm
finish that, then I'm drafting what?
a second plan.
Mhm.
And I personally don't like putting one thing in saying approximate town line based on the local evidence and then something down the road that changes it. That where you, both towns enter into an agreement to finalize the line in that 4-mile stretch. You know, I've talked to a number of other surveyors on this over the last 2 years, and they've all said that they would love to see this done as an example for other towns that have danced around this in a similar way.
But if you draw an approximate town line down through there, and Vernon and us get together and we talk this out and say, yeah, that's okay with us, that's okay with us, your work is done, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
So you don't have to do this plan if you do the approximate.
If we go the next step in the extra that I emailed 2 weeks ago after the meeting with Vernon, was you would have the beginning of that agreement. How involved that gets is another, I'll just warn you that if the public decides they want to put their input in and they want the line where their surveyor put it in the, in the past.
Well, that was my, part of my concern,
Mhm.
was just that, if you arbitrarily said, let's straighten this right out
Right,
here.
it wouldn't be a straight line, and you've set that precedent by agreeing to the Eric Morris plan,
Which was not a straight line.
which was not a straight
Which was
line.
using monumentation, as you said.
Correct.
So you are saying that our two options are to finish up Lowry Road and Broadbrook Road, and we would end up with not enough.
You'd have my original proposal included a lot of work,
Yeah,
but only to put the line, and this was based on what you asked me to do, was you needed to know where it crossed Broadbrook and where it crossed Lowry Road. So I located a lot of the monumentation that's out there, tied into a lot of the surveys. Some of this was already started. I relied on the section where you've already made the agreement. And I do have a little bit more work to do. Here's a, let me finish. I have a little bit more work to do, but I would be able to draw a plan that would be the first step in coming to an agreement with Vernon.
and that was not part of our first proposal.
That was not part of it. And it was difficult for me to know how much of this I was going to be able to do until I started the process. I'm at a point where I've tied, located up and down there's quite a bit of survey work that's happened in that area between the Welcome Center. There's a lot of properties that it isn't going to matter to where this line ends up. There's not a whole lot of development possibility. The land along Tyler Hill Road.
Sure.
It's really the only land that's really all that developable. There's habitat mitigation lands north of that. There's pieces that are owned by the state. There's the Welcome Center property. There's the Fort Dummer State Park. There's really not a whole lot, except Lowry Road is really where the majority of this is happening. So it wouldn't be a straight line, unless you want it to. It's up to.
Listen. I see it on here, but I don't know where it is on here.
Right here.
No, it's this one down
Not down here, sorry, yeah.
It's this one that goes in a straight line there?
No, it's just this little tiny piece from right there down to here. That's Lowry
And
Road.
that's this.
And that's that
Yeah.
also on there. Right. And you can see, those two tax maps, that's the tax maps digitized and available through the state.
Mhm.
And you can see that they don't line up. I mean, it's pretty subtle at this scale, but you see here is the gap here.
Oh,
Yeah, and there's a couple of places also down at the end there. It looks a lot more impressive on a computer screen where you can zoom in.
So the work that would be involved, I guess I did misunderstand, because what you're saying, the work that would be involved to get this to a place that Guilford and Vernon could agree on Lowry Road and Broadbrook Road? Do we have a disagreement?
Well,
It's a bigger picture than that.
it's a bigger picture than that. You know, I'm prepared to finish what I originally proposed in 2009, which would just be the crossing at, it's that stretch along Lowry Road, and it's the crossing at Broad Brook. But you'd be getting, really small pieces. And then you'd have the piece down at Lowry Road, you'd have a gap, you'd have the section along Franklin Road that's already been agreed to, and you'd have a gap, and then you would have Broad Brook Road.
Yeah.
It doesn't, to me, it's too piecemeal it'd be a lot smarter to, in my opinion, it'd be a lot cleaner.
To do, not down to the state line, but down to where that final line.
Correct. And it opens up a whole nother can of worms if we go across the state line and we go all the way down to, or if we cross the interstate and go to the state line, it's doable. I'm more than happy to do it, but I would add another 5,000 to this proposal. It's because that land hasn't been maintained in private ownership. It's the Roaring Brook Wildlife Preserve down there. Those individual properties haven't been maintained even before the interstate was built. So the chances that you're going to find any evidence of the town line is, I've walked around down there, and it's probably the closest I've ever come to getting lost in my surveying.
So Tom, your proposal to do this purple part here,
Correct.
and that's not the $1,200 proposal. That would be.
That's additional. So I've got the Lowry Road's 2,700. That's although David Walker seemed to expect that he was going to pay for half of it. I don't think it's fair because it's all in Guilford. So that's yours. Oh, okay, and that's
not part. That's in addition to the original proposal.
That is the original.
Okay.
That's
The
one of
original
the
was 2.
parts, yeah.
Yeah.
The original was 2.
Okay.
And then half of the 32, if I understand that we're splitting this with Vernon, and you guys are my client. Your decision to get Vernon to chip in on half is between you. I'm not concerned who writes me the check, but I see the town of Guilford as my client because that's who originally got me started in this. So just strictly looking at the town line part, originally it was $3,200, half of which was to be paid by each town.
Right. 1,600 by each.
Guilford's already paid me
half of
that. So you would, for the additional town line work, the total would be $2,350, subtracting the 800. You would be owing me $1,550, plus the $2,700 for Lowry Road. And
because we never paid you that.
I haven't been paid on that, and I haven't received the retainer, which I'm not. I understand that this
But the work product you had.
Essentially, it's finished. There is some.
But this is it. So I'm just trying to ascertain. It's not like we have had the work product for a long time and haven't paid you.
No.
Okay.
No. I apologize that.
No, that's all right. I
we
just
had
didn't want to feel like we had.
Year delay.
I guess he would have sent us an invoice.
Yeah,
We would have paid it.
It was. I understand that this is an involved process because I don't want to finish that until you guys agree on the town line.
So what do you think?
Can I ask just a...
Sure.
So the 3,200 piece that's split with Vernon, for that portion, we're going to have to do the public involvement process and the whole statutory application piece.
It's up to you.
I don't think it is. If it's by statute.
I was going to say, if that's laying out that portion of the
Well,
town line, correct?
I can.
Formalizing it between the two towns.
That's in your ballpark.
So we would be in receipt of information that would allow us to do
Correct.
that. So if we wanted to formalize that process, it would be a public involvement, similar to laying out a road. Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
It would be good for you guys to look at that statute, and
Sure.
so that it's just not my interpretation, and perhaps even
Have an attorney.
the two town attorneys.
Yeah, sure.
Is it the same?
I don't think It would be.
No.
But, sorry, so to have the additional, to make it 4.1 miles, that would be inclusive of the 3,200 in terms of the public involvement process in the whole. It would provide us with the roadmap for the process.
It would be my part of that, correct.
So if we decided to go back, however long in the future, and go back at it and say, oh, we've decided we want to do the rest, we'd have to go have two processes if we formalized it in that way.
You know, I can give you a plan that shows where the town line crosses those roads. And, you know, you guys can operate, you know, but it would really just be the road guys that would have to deal with that. But that doesn't solve the bigger issue as this gets, as these surveys get done, and they've been done over the years, you now have all these different lines. I mean, just every survey has, well, no, there's two surveys that do agree, but
unless the two towns get together and adopt one, or the segments of them that they want to adopt as the official, it isn't official.
Is
that, I know
you're
that
right.
sounds
You're
confusing,
right. But you know, as a surveyor, it's my
I
opinion.
kind of lack
That's
here.
that's what I'm giving. If you agree, you know.
But if they took the 4.1, if you did the work and did the 4.1 miles, the two towns could come together, formalize this, and it could, from that point forward, be the town line for all to recognize.
Correct. And I've had conversations. One process.
All done.
I've also the work that Eric's done it's monumented on the ground, but it's not the information that could go into a GIS system.
Best formulas.
It can't go into a GIS.
Well, it's not in state plane coordinates. It's a magnetic bearing between those two things. I've tied into Eric's work, and he's more than happy to share his information with me and incorporate his section into this so that it would be one plan.
So it's part of the 4.1.
It's part of the 4.1.
Wasn't there
I'm
another
not doing.
surveyor's work that was part of that as well? Was there another one, or just Eric's?
I just remember you talking about Eric.
Just what you've already.
Okay.
It's essentially the
Okay.
agreement
Okay,
that you two, but it's based on Eric's plan.
sure.
Well, to sort of shorten this up a little bit, I think Katie and I were scheduled to have a meeting with Vernon.
Mm-hmm.
So before we go forward with any more of this, I think we
Okay.
need to do that.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for coming back, because I was confused at the last meeting. I felt that there were pieces I just didn't understand how they fit together, and I was leery about the idea, which I thought you were proposing, of drawing a straight line, because I thought you're going to disrupt a lot of people's surveys, as you suggested. And so I hesitate, and you said you're not going to be just straightening out the line, so it...
Right, but it's at the same time, it's not everyone's survey fitted. So you're still going to have some of those issues.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know
Maybe
that.
not.
I would hesitate.
Disgruntled surveyors or disgruntled
No,
property
but,
owners?
Property owners, I
Yeah,
was thinking.
or both.
I wouldn't change how you tax anyone based on this. That will come in time
As property
as
transfer.
as surveys are updated and new ones are performed.
Sure.
Those surveyors will be able to find this plan in the town
Utilize the
clerk's
new
office
information.
and know which monuments they need to tie into and reference the agreement. And there already are issues where someone believes, based on a 1970s vintage survey, that all of their land is in one town, when in fact, when you go just a little bit further, you find evidence that changes that line. Doesn't change private ownership. It changes, it's going to put a sliver of land in one town that they didn't know they owned land. But that already exists. When you take the survey, and this is down around Lowry Road. When you take the various surveys that exist down there are different versions of the town line.
So you guys are going to be meeting with Vernon, or some representative of Vernon? I guess, I mean, my inclination in hearing your explanation is that it would make sense to do that 4.1 mile, but I think it makes sense also to first meet with Vernon and make sure you hammer out that agreement.
Sure, and if they'll split it with us.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think they sounded pretty open to that.
Yeah. So thank you, I appreciate it.
You want me to attend the meeting with Guilford, with Vernon?
Do you have it scheduled?
Not yet, no.
We haven't scheduled yet. No.
I think it would probably be helpful.
Yeah. Do you want me to let you know?
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. I understand that it's a technical, I could go on telling you about this for hours, and I'm not sure that.
That's what we're trying to avoid.
But that's what you're trying to avoid. And just,
It's
What-
easiest to look at it in this format, I think.
I toyed with bringing in my work, which is all, it's all on the computer right now, but it's a big worksheet.
Yeah.
It would be very confusing.
So we may end up needing to talk to you again after the meeting,
Yeah.
and I think it'd be great if you could attend that meeting, because it would add that information, and I don't have to attend it, it sounds like.
Yeah.
He's lucky to.
We have luck.
So, thank you,
Okay,
Tom.
thanks
Okay.
again, Tom.
Yeah,
Yep.
thanks, Tom.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Go
Sheriff,
barbecue or
Holiday,
something.
no less.
Sheriff
Yeah.
Department, we weren't sure if the
Yeah.
sheriff was gonna show up or not, and he's not here, so we'll scratch him. Holiday schedule remainder of 2012.
I would like to broaden that discussion. I would like to make a motion. I'm just gonna jump right in here, we can discuss it. My motion is that when a select board meeting falls on a national holiday, Columbus Day, Martin Luther King Day, Memorial Day, Veterans Day, some like that are often on a Monday, that we routinely, and if we make this in a motion, we won't have to warn it every time, that we, those days, hold a meeting on the Tuesday instead of on a Monday, instead of deciding each time. You want a second?
I guess I can, yeah,
Or
I can.
can we make
And then we
it,
discuss.
instead of the Tuesday, maybe the Thursday? And the only reason why I say this is because
Rock
when
my
I,
world.
when I was looking at the holiday schedule coming up for the remainder of the year, Christmas Eve is on a Monday.
Yeah.
So if you made it Tuesday, that's Christmas Day.
Ah.
And New Year's Eve is on a Monday. So if we did Thursday, that would give enough wiggle room for all of those other.
Sure, I'm fine with that. I just thought that we should regularize it because,
Sure.
for example, tonight we all looked at each other and said, yeah, I don't have anything going.
So for the Monday, it would fall on the Wednesday or the Thursday, whichever.
I think we need
So
to
anytime there's a
decide.
Monday holiday, it would be a Wednesday meeting.
Or, I thought you said Thursday, you don't
Either
care?
or.
You're-
Either or.
Would that, to throw more wood on the fire, would that conflict with maybe a planning commission or?
It could, that's why
conservation
Thursday,
committee?
I don't know, I don't think anyone's on Thursday, right?
Yes.
Conservation.
Conservation's on Thursday, planning's on Wednesday, third, they're both on the third.
We're second and fourth.
Okay, we'll be all right.
So is
Okay.
Wednesday, do you wanna do,
I would say let's do Wednesday.
is that a good enough?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay,
So,
just to kind of.
so I'll amend my motion when our select board meeting falls on a Monday, that is a national holiday, we meet on Wednesday instead.
It's an obvious motion, I'll have to second it. I just say all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then what we'll do is publish it in the town report.
Yeah. Is that good with you, Dale?
Who?
Is that okay?
Yeah. Well,
It's not pitch night?
no,
Okay.
no,
Just-
that's Monday night. Golf is Tuesday night.
Wednesday's good, we don't have anything?
Wednesday. Wednesday's pitch night too.
Yeah.
Oh, no, how about Thursday? I think every night you have something, right?
No, summertime we take a break.
Oh, okay. All right.
Board of Listers, usual
Annual
extension,
request.
they want annual request for an extension.
And your name is spelled wrong,
Mine?
right? Yeah, I did not type that in.
So moved. Make a motion that we grant the Board of Listers an extension to lodge their grand list until the date of June 29th, which is the end of the fiscal year.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now, we did have executive session down here, but I know that when you were here last time, we said that we never had executive sessions. And if we did have, we'd put them down at the end of the, so that's what we will do tonight. We'll move the executive session down and do the rest of the meeting first.
It's up to you. If you want to do it now, I can turn off the camera and just step
That's okay.
outside.
No, we're fine to put it at the end.
Okay.
So that would move us to ordinance work session schedule.
And this is going to make me make another proposal about our meeting schedule. which is to try again listening to, I guess, the board members from Vernon, as well as school board members. I would propose that we, for the 3 months of the summer, meet once a month, have an official meeting once a month, the second Monday of the month. And on the fourth Monday of the month, we gather, but we have that as a work session so we can work on these ordinances, but we don't do any official business. What do you think? I just want to, I'm trying to figure out a way that we can find some time to do it without having to necessarily add time, and maybe we just do, and I should just forget that.
I know we tried it before, it didn't work.
Didn't work.
I suppose we can give it another shot and see.
Tell, what were some of the problems that we had? Too much business came up that we had to...
I think a lot of stuff popped up in the middle of the week and between the meetings and the meeting.
It wasn't as quiet time as we thought it should be.
Yeah. It's sort of like, in the fall, when we schedule our budget meetings, the work sessions end up being, at the end of meetings.
Well, and the other thing we can do is just schedule ordinance work sessions. I just thought, maybe.
Well, I think, without going into detail, I might be able to do some work on ordinances next month.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
So what do you think about the idea of trying to meet once a month?
We're gonna get them done. I mean, that's.
Yeah, I mean, I just
Well,
thought,
long
Meet once a
overdue.
month for ordinance?
no, the idea sort of dovetail, that our second monthly meeting.
Okay,
So I'm talking about, we have the second Monday of each month is a regular scheduled select board
So you
meeting.
want to try that again?
And the fourth Monday, and perhaps with additional work time for working on ordinances. But we have to get them done.
Yeah, we gotta get them done.
It's
We're gonna
just,
come back and bug us in them.
yeah. So, I'll make that as a motion, that through, I'm gonna say June, July, August, what do you think about
so I
September?
wouldn't go any further
Okay.
than that.
Those three, and that gives it 3 2-hour blocks that we can, and we may need to augment it with other stuff, but,
I'll second it.
all right, let's
With
give it a
a
go.
little apprehension.
Sure, understood,
And
I
all,
know.
all in favor?
Aye. In the meantime, do we want to schedule anything else, or do we want to,
Let's see what,
I mean, because that's actually then not until
I
June
think-
25th.
I think more time's gonna be needed.
yeah, let's see what develops next week.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let's talk at the end of next week and see if we need a work session to get started on that. I'll be back on
Yeah.
Wednesday night.
Okay. You tell
And what
me.
it might
I'm
even,
going to see my mom.
Oh, okay. I was right too, yeah.
what might even end up happening is, maybe in that second meeting of the month,
Mm-hmm.
you hammer out like a big picture of what you wanna have accomplished, and it might have to break out into
Some
smaller,
of our work
couple
sessions.
people
Yeah.
work together to take pieces.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Mhm. We just got to get those done. I want to set it as a goal that by the end of August, we've got traffic, highway, personnel policy.
Signs.
I'd say,
That's part of traffic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
personnel's pretty much done.
Yeah,
It is
Craig and
done.
I
but
pretty
we
much-
just need to
Pass it.
pass it.
Yes.
Well, I think-
And that's a policy, it's not an ordinance.
It's not an ordinance,
So
so
that's
it's-
not,
Awesome.
How
that's
about
not a public process.
EMD, how about emergency management?
Yeah, we're gonna
It's
do
mine,
that
yeah.
because Katie, you've
I
seen
have it
the
all.
email that came from the state and looking at generator grants and all the requirements the town has to certify.
Yep.
We need to put some of that stuff in the emergency ordinance, so we,
So we've got
So
so
we're-
we're eligible for grants. How about the
Exactly.
floodplain
I
thing?
thought NIMS was the most
yes.
important part, and we need to make sure we're all up on NIMS training. Actually, I still need to do that survey.
Yeah, you haven't got it yet? Okay. Because I gave you my copy of the worksheet that I did, right?
Right.
Okay.
I don't,
So I don't have a copy now.
I don't think
Well,
so.
I thought you gave me a copy. Okay.
I think I just inadvertently
You
gave
gave
you
the
my
original.
original.
All right, I'll make it a practice to make copies of
The
stuff.
floodplain, I think, is policy in itself is somewhat
No, not yet.
solidified, but we don't have
She said she
a,
has it,
Yeah.
so thank you.
That's
what do you
it.
call it?
Revisit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
should be revisited, so.
And towards,
Floodplain, bylaws, all that stuff, I think we can look at those.
Okay. All right, so, in the meantime, since that first meeting wouldn't be till June 25th, we're going to talk just after next week. Okay.
So traffic
Highway traffic.
was heavily edited
Mhm.
and is still there.
Is that where sign says in traffic?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
That one will have to, and is the goal to get them done so they all go through the public process at once?
Wouldn't that
I
make
think
sense?
absolutely. So traffic is pretty solid. It's highway that's the biggest one, and that's going to take
Is that the speed limits?
No.
What's with highway then?
class 4
Stop
roads,
sign.
that sort of stuff.
We definitely need to redo our class 4 policy
Okay.
and something like that. Okay, so we'll talk next week.
We'll make
and
a
see what
schedule, a work schedule,
Yeah.
yeah.
Herb,
But probably before the 25th.
And human resource is just a policy, so
would
it's
you
not
like to
about-
talk to us?
What would you like me to talk about?
Whatever you want to talk about.
Yeah.
The new developments, if you will, from emergency? Okay, because of the switching of the schools in Wilmington, there's no longer going to be a Western Reception Center.
Oh my God.
What?
The Western Reception Center is no longer
Why not?
feasible because of the changing of the schools in Wilmington, you know, that.
Mhm, they're consolidating
Yes.
the elementary
So
school.
the school that they were gonna use for the reception center is no longer a school.
What's it gonna be?
I really don't know. That information I don't have, but I was told that the Western Reception Center was for the moment defunct.
So it's just the Bellows Falls Reception Center.
Well, it'll be the Bells Falls or Greenfield Community College. They're still
Mhm.
functional.
They'll have to find another one for Western though. It's just in limbo, right? How can you not have one there? Sorry.
They didn't used to have one.
That-
No?
We never,
We never did get it.
No.
The thought is maybe go all the way to Bennington, but then you had this,
Then you're gonna win.
Yeah, you have to go over there.
yeah. So I mean, that's the problem. I think between Wilmington and
Which makes so
Bennington,
much sense.
there's no viable alternate, and so at this point, they're saying, no, we're not gonna do that.
Okay. So
The
north,
second-
north and south only.
The second thing about evacuation route, if you will, although I'm not sure all the agreements have been signed, the schools will be sent to a designated location prior to any event. Now, this could happen if you had the boil blow up, which it seems to frequently do here. The school would go always to Newfane.
Okay.
For any type of evacuation, they'd be set as, Newfane would know they would come, we would know they would go, the parents would know that if something happens, their kids would go to Newfane.
Are there other schools going to Newfane as well, or is that our partner?
No, I think one of the schools is going to Newfane, but all the schools will go somewhere. And I don't remember where all the rest of them go, but I know we will go to Newfane.
So the reception point is Newfane.
Yes.
What's the
that
name of
area.
the, what's the name, do we have a school name? Is it Newbrook?
I think it's the
Right on
Newfane Elementary School.
Is it right on Route 30 there?
It's right on Route 30.
That's the Newbrook school, I think it is. Okay, I'll find out, don't worry.
Yeah.
I don't know what's the firehouse, I think the school.
It's
I think
also-
the school is Newfane. I don't
We're
know.
gonna go there tomorrow.
Because I have a softball game there,
Yeah.
it's called Newbrook.
We're going there tomorrow, so I could probably find out the official name.
That's all right, I'm gonna look it up on the internet.
But anyway, those are the latest developments that I thought you ought to know about.
Alright,
So that's like the regular emergencies, not DY, right? Or it could be?
Everything,
Okay.
yeah.
that's a typo she told me about, I guess.
Sorry.
Alright, discussion updates. Okay, LG's water line,
Oh, I'll stay.
LG's fire district in FEMA.
I'll talk about the water line briefly. There is one remaining piece of work that needs to be done, and then the water line is ready to start into construction, I think in July. And the last remaining piece of work is that we need to sign an agreement with the town of Brattleboro, consecutive exempt agreement, and that means that Brattleboro's lines will extend into Guilford, that they will be there, they will maintain the lines, we will own them, but they will maintain them. And they're their lawyer and our lawyer are hammering out the details of that. But after that's done, everything's ready to go.
Okay.
That's been a little slow. I really think just because the nature of lawyers moving kind of slowly.
Okay. You have something on the fire district?
Sorry.
Sorry, debris coming through the window there.
Yes, we've been doing more work. Peter has kind of partnered in and pulled a lot of information together in a really comprehensive format about details of the fire district from the onset of the construction.
The history.
Yeah,
Really.
To-
You get a copy of this?
we can give you that.
Mhm.
So you had decided at the last meeting that Ann would be the representative to the fire district. So I guess, are we at the point where we would like to ask them to call a meeting?
Well, they had their annual meeting, what is it now, June
June
20th?
20th. Yeah.
And the question I have in my mind is, I mean, maybe we just wait and I go to that meeting. There's an issue that we have on an outstanding bill, and I was curious to know if the board wanted me to ask them to make a decision about that. There's some work that was done for them that they haven't paid for yet, and I just feel like we've got to get that wrapped up. I'm not sure we want to wait till June 20th, and it occurred to me just to email them and say, can we sit down with the person who is contracted to do that work and with you guys and just get this straightened out and get it off the books? Because it does kind of affect our books to a certain extent. We're moving the money for them. So that was one reason I was going to see if it was okay I would just email the people on the Prudential Committee and ask about that. I think to go beyond that in terms of the administration of their organization that is proposed that we do that, I think that makes sense to wait till their annual meeting.
Okay, so there's still a little problematic with,
They have, and interest is being charged, there's misunderstanding, there's property that needs to be returned, and there's work product that needs to be gotten. So there are all kinds of outstanding issues that feel that it would not make sense to wait until the 20th to deal with that.
For the warning for the annual meeting, are there articles that are warned on that? Or is it just a meeting warning?
You mean
No,
agenda?
it does list what's it does list the agenda,
It does.
and it lists other things.
So maybe I should
Other
ask them to
topics.
get on the agenda then in terms
I
of...
don't know if you can at this point because it's the same sort of warning that we do for town meeting.
So can that business be decided then?
No, that's why I'm wondering if perhaps they need a special meeting called earlier to discuss it. Or wait until their next Prudential Committee meeting, which would be in August. And at that
I
point,
think, listening to what you said, I think you got to email them and tell them it's from you, that is essential to move now.
Right. Well, there are other issues that it would be good for them to move on as well. That I thought could wait till June, but like
seems like there's a little bunch of leftover stuff that needs to be taken care of, and that's why we appointed you.
All right. So I'm going to email them and ask them to talk about 2 items then.
sure.
The agreement with Commonwealth and the issue with the employee.
Yeah, because
Or the contracted services really is what it was.
and one of the reasons is both of those affect this fiscal year and how we plan for the next fiscal year.
Right.
So, from
So
a
I will
budget
email. I'll
perspective-
email the guys, the heads of the officers of the
Prudential
Prudential Committee,
Yep.
and see if I can set up a meeting for next week or early the following week.
And you copy to me and Julia.
Okay. I would do you. Okay, Julie.
What's FEMA for?
Just to give you an update
Laura?
where we're at
Oh,
with FEMA.
I'm thinking of the
Emergency
Yeah,
management?
FEMA, yeah.
No, I'm not thinking of that. See,
FEMA update, all right,
not
let's
that
go.
division of FEMA. We've already mentioned that we have a different FEMA representative on our case now, who has put together some of our large projects. So he did project worksheets for
probably in excess of $300,000 worth of work that we just submitted. We still haven't gotten any change to date. We're still at $148,000 of reimbursement that we've received. One of the things that's happened is originally FEMA was paying 75%, and the other 25% was borne by the state and local share. Because of the nature and the dollar amount of the emergency per capita, they do a whole calculation. The governor asked the president to make a declaration, which is a 90-10. So FEMA pays 90, and then the remaining 10 is borne by
State and local.
state and local. So I'm not sure how we'll, for the stuff that we've already been paid for, how we'll get that money,
Yeah. Is that
the
10,
additional 15%.
that 10 is that broken down? I remember we talked about this before, we're on 3% for the,
I'm trying to get confirmation on
Okay.
that. That's what I thought.
yeah.
3% for
Seven,
the
seven,
town?
Yeah.
7 and 3, yeah.
7 and
yeah.
3. So the town's share would ultimately be 3%, which is wonderful. So we're kind of in limbo,
We're
waiting.
just gonna wait and see what we get for money.
Mhm.
How many FEMA guys have we gone through? FEMA Mike?
Four.
Four.
And so you guys have had to
Okay,
restate,
every time a different guy comes in, they
Don't have the.
don't have all the, I
information.
don't know how many times Katie had to print the information off of the guys and,
Yeah, so I mean, we have a good system now.
yeah.
We're ready for the next one.
so we
I got-
might, when's the soonest we'll be seeing this money? Thinking about your concern that you stated on
I
us.
don't know.
Could be.
I don't
You
know.
know,
Yeah.
some of that money we won't see until I get finished up on some jobs.
I'm glad you didn't say till you're retired.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah, the plan, I may be fired, I don't know.
With a fair amount of the projects that were done, mitigation work was included that FEMA would pay for, and the total amount of our mitigation work that was included was $179,000. So that's work to prepare for future events so that we're better and stronger for next time, which I
Right.
think is pretty amazing that we're getting that in there, so.
And we've seen that money.
Not all of it
Not
yet.
all of it.
That's just of the projects that have been submitted. That's the total
This-
amount that was mitigation.
This new FEMA guy we got seemed to be
Yeah.
on the ball pretty good.
I think he's,
Yeah,
yeah.
he seems to have taken on the toughest
Yeah.
towns. Not that we are,
Of course
but
not.
no, we're actually easy. But like the Graftons and
Wilmington's.
yes,
yeah.
that got wiped out. He's now their person, so I think he's much better. So I just wanted to give you that
Thank you.
update.
Okay.
But we're still moving ahead.
Daniel,
Paving,
you're up.
Hollow Road.
Good.
I added a little extra 4/10 of a mile. We had a little problem, the road down here, that section of road we rebuilt.
Tell me exactly where you are.
This is from Gill Drive
Oh, okay.
down to by Bruno's.
Okay.
See you tomorrow morning, Herb.
For
Right.
some
Night,
reason-
Herb.
Good night.
For some
Thank
reason,
you.
the joint separated on us, and it almost looked like the road settled a little bit. And we had probably about this much of a lip on the center joint.
It's kind of swampy. Isn't it kind of swampy down in there?
Yeah, and I'm surprised it lasted long as it has, but it's, I think maybe something just settled a little bit or whatever, so
It's a safety
we were
issue.
right at Field Drive on the pavement, where we ended for my mile and a half, and I ended up getting the price from them to shim that joint so a car wouldn't hit it, and the way I felt it was a safety issue.
Yeah.
So I ended up having them pave that extra 4/10 of a mile. They went down and just shimmed the joint, and then we just put a 3/4 inch overlay on it.
Sort of
Just
to even
Just
it
a
out.
leveling course, that's all it was, so. My paving, I'm gonna be a little over on.
Do you know how much that additional 4/10 of a mile costs?
We're gonna be looking at, a little over 200,000 for all the paving.
Oh, for all of it.
Yeah. And that's not counting my shoulder work I gotta do, so.
You know, that includes what you did last fall. huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we did down there by Evans's power line, where it crossed from Tater Lane to back to the Evans's power line. And that took a lot more mix than what we had planned on.
It's really
Because
nice.
it was so bad. It was almost 500 tons. I mean, it was so, we override it so bad, I mean, it was, about 420
Yeah.
ton of mix they put down here. I mean, it's quite a bit, especially when it was just gonna be
Yeah.
just a shim on it, so they had to
Need a-
shim it, they had to shim it before they could
Who did that work?
lean. But we are gonna be over on our, my paving budget, but we have some surplus left over from 12, which is, or 11.
Yeah.
I think what we should do is take what we need out of that to finish up the paving, and I think the rest of it should go in our bridge account, because we got 2 big bridge jobs coming up we're gonna need some money on, so.
Okay.
We don't really know what the total figure is yet, or what we're gonna have to have, but
Would it make sense when you do know what that total figure is for us to, I mean, I don't know if this makes sense. We're kind of near the end of the fiscal year. So when you're saying you're going to be over on it, you're meaning for FY12?
yes.
Okay. So we'll see that at the end of FY12. We'll know that.
Yeah.
There's no sense in doing a little, yeah, we're there.
And we're,
Are you mean trying to figure out what we're gonna look like at the end of FY12 for highway?
No, we'll wait until, yeah.
we're gonna be
I don't know.
in a hole
With
anyway.
FEMA and everything
Because
else.
of Irene.
All the work of
Yeah.
Irene, so.
Yeah, there's so much,
So I don't know what the
there's
total
a
figure
lot of irons
is.
in
Yeah.
it.
And then some of that will be reimbursed and
Some of that will be a lot of it will be reimbursed, some of it will get paid back for labor and equipment.
Mhm.
So I mean, it's just really a matter of when we get paid back.
Right.
The problem is, we're so used to operating that we collect taxes and we expend that money all year long. And what happened is we had to spend our
We had to
tax
spend it
money
early.
for
Yeah.
Irene.
Yeah.
So now we're at the end of the fiscal year and we've been reimbursed, so we're,
We're gonna have to borrow money in anticipation of taxes.
yeah, actually, that can segue right into the next piece, the finance piece. I had spoken with People's Bank about a tax anticipation note, so I'm going to ask Penny to gather the information that we'll need to get that.
Are people starting to pay the taxes ahead?
If that would be a question for her.
Yeah.
More
I
so
know
than me.
that
I mean,
that-
I could try and,
What did she do that made that easier for people?
Well, if you got an
We
extra
have-
pocket full of money, you can put it towards your tax.
Oh, you can pay
Yeah,
towards
'cause it
them.
doesn't mean
Yeah.
that you know what your taxes are gonna be, it's just that.
Yeah, you can
you can build us
deposit.
like a credit balance.
Yeah,
I did one
And that
thing.
was,
Oh, you do?
I think I
So
know what
smart.
you can, that was because we have cash receipts now. That system allows us to do a credit for taxes. I can't tell you now, but if you ask tomorrow, I can see who's paid ahead. Not who, but the amount that we've collected.
Yeah.
Because that will ease that shock.
Yeah, that's
A
what I
little
was.
bit, I don't think that many,
Yeah.
Not many.
not many people have done.
Yeah, I know I haven't, so,
I mean, the people with the $50,000 tax bills aren't paying them.
no, they want to wait,
No.
yeah.
They'll pay them right at the, because you know they want to make all that money on that money.
Oh, that 0.2% interest.
I'm facetious.
This is going back a little bit. I'm wondering, Katie, if you might make a copy of this that Peter did for us just for Dick?
Absolutely.
Not right now, but
Yep,
just so
no,
we
I have it in
can
my
read
folder,
that, because it was a lot, it was good information.
Oh, it was great.
Help about that, the
That's
whole
right.
history of that.
Huge clarity.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, anything else, Dan?
No, we're trying to get graded in between rainstorms and working on it. Then as soon as we get done, my plan is to start getting caught up on some of this FEMA work we gotta do. So,
Yeah.
Roadside mowing?
I'm not gonna do that until after 4th of July.
4th of July. I mean, it's not really almost needed yet.
Because if you go mow too early, then it's rolling back up again.
Yeah. All right.
All right,
Sounds good.
is that it?
Thanks, sir.
Okay.
Happy Memorial Day.
You too.
Hope I barbecue something for us.
I'm gonna see what's left over in the refrigerator. See you later.
Yeah.
See you, Dan.
Yep.
Overpayment of taxes, education,
Oh, yeah,
tax
that was
request.
interesting. I know it's one.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of,
Have you talked to the school board about that yet?
I asked Penny I sent her an email asking, because she's the school district treasurer, and she's the town treasurer, so asking the supervisory union to see if she could request the money from the supervisory union to be paid in their next warrant if possible.
Has anybody communicated this with Jim King?
Well, that's her job to communicate.
Okay.
Yeah.
really good sum of money in?
Yeah.
79,000. I think I copied you
Yeah.
guys on that request.
Yeah, I just.
Yeah, yep, yes.
So do we need an official motion to ask for that overpayment, or, I mean, it seems pretty standard.
I would think
Okay.
so.
It's 47,000 from, and change from Guilford Town School District and 32,000 and change from UHS. So we had to do a similar process last year in the $62,000 range we got last year, so.
Okay.
So that's
Why do we
coming
keep
back.
overpaying them?
It's based on preliminary, we pay based on preliminary education numbers.
And then.
And at year end, by the time all the grants and
Mhm.
all of that stuff shakes out,
Yeah.
it's the final cash flow.
Okay.
So it's kind of
It's kind of
a nice
inevitable.
shot in the arm too.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Mhm.
This year more than ever.
Warren?
Yeah, I'm sorry. You're over in Troy's spot.
That's my paper on top there when it goes. This stuff. Good. There's one payroll warrant in your left hand.
I understand. I'm curious to know why this is warrant 22 and we're on warrant
Oh, I
23.
don't
So-
know. I might have put the wrong number down.
Okay,
Did
just
I?
checking. It looks like I
She's
did.
been working on a holiday all day.
I know, poor thing.
That's out there.
Well, I'll make the motion to pay
Definitely.
payroll dated 5/20/2012 in the amount of $11,354.69.
You could just reference it as the warrant of 528 and that clarifies it. Sure.
All in favor?
All right.
All right.
And let me just take a minute to take another look at this.
That sounds like a celebratory bag.
That's how you know you're in Guilford. I would also like to move that we pay warrant dated, number 23, dated 5/28/12 in the amount of $8,731.76.
All in favor? All right.
Yes, it is warrant 22.
I just referenced the date, as you said. Thank you.
And I'm going to zip through communications. Okay. And then we can kick him out.
Oh, gotcha. There's the map for Torn to Heifer came out.
Oh,
And
good.
just wanted to highlight for the record the Guilford Farm, Circle Mountain Farm, which is Amy Frost's farm on Lee Road.
Oh.
Deer Ridge Farm, which is Jerry Smith and Lisa Holderness's farm on Heinsberg Road. Franklin Farm, which we all know where that is. Sunrise Farm, Steve Smith on Thomas Road. Gates Farm's not listed this year.
They're not going down Route 5.
Oh.
No, that's why they didn't want to stop by the store. They're doing a western kind of route.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. Just
I think they're probably going to go around like Sweet Pond or something and up the hollow or over that way, so.
just wanted to highlight those farms. I think that's a really cool thing.
Steve Smith, that's the old Palmer Thomas.
Yeah.
Wastewater permit application was submitted by Brian Link from Somerville, Mass. For parcel 535 on Stage Road
While you were there.
through the bridge. Yep. And lastly, the Wyndham County Sheriff's STARS report. I know you're looking at that. Pretty light.
I'm going up there in a minute, they won't be doing it anymore. Total bill down was 9.5, none billed, and no tickets, no warning.
It's from the Sheriff's Department?
Yeah.
Nothing, huh?
I couldn't see anything.
And we think that's worth our money?
Somebody's got to do it.
Well, I understand. I just,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't,
I think you see the fines pick up pretty shortly.
this time of year.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that is it for us.
I'll make a motion that we go
Are we-
into
Yeah, thanks.
executive session to discuss a contract matter, personnel matter.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, okay.